Hi, it's Austin Eaton with Coldwell Banker Realty. Today I want to talk with you about a form that's pivotal for both sellers and for buyers and can have an impact years and years into the ownership of the home by the buyers of the home. This form right here is called the Seller's Disclosure Statement, and it details what the seller knows about the home and what has happened in the home since the sellers took possession of the home. So it could list anything from the fact that the doorbell's not working to the fact that they had water in the basement, or that there was an insurance claim years ago for replacement of the roof because of a hailstorm. I like to look at it both from the buyer's side and from the seller's side and say that the truth is your friend. And it's always your friend, particularly in this case. Buyers want to know any faults to the home, and they will also want to know improvements made to the home. So I'm going to go through a couple of examples here. First page talks about the day that the date that the seller took possession of the home, and where the record of the home is, either with the county or in abstract, which is a book form for the title of the home. It will go through, let's see, this was an insurance claim. They had hail damage to the roof in 2018. This next page, they talk about the fact that there was an addition done to the home and that they created it off the back of the house. It was built in 2015, and they also replaced all the countertops in the kitchen in 2018. This next piece here talks about the fact that there was a flood in 2016, and they had to replace carpet throughout a portion of the main floor. This page right here goes through everything, all the systems that are in the home and whether they're operating. So it may tell us that they've got ceiling fans in the home, but they're not operating, or that the doorbell does not work, or that there is no incinerator in the home. This gives the realtor representing the buyer, and it gives the buyer a look at how the home is operating and what to expect in the home. We can move on from there and look at the fact that they can detail any of these items that might be not functioning properly. So in this case, they talk about a fireplace fan that's not working right. I love to see detail in these seller's disclosures. It tells me that the seller was diligent and has done work on the home. It also tells me if they're disclosing small things such as a fireplace fan not working and taking time to write about it, it means that they are doing everything they can to disclose everything they know about the home. It gives me and it gives the buyer a feeling of confidence and a little bit of peace, knowing that there may not be any surprises here. It talks, there's always a disclosure here to say whether the seller knows about whether meth was cooked in the house. I don't think I've ever seen that checked yes. Talks about environmental issues such as mold, such as soil problems around the house, lead, and that lead can be an issue in homes built back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and before that. And in fact, there is a separate disclosure for lead-based paints. Here we're talking about a tree in the front yard that had to have limbs removed, and there was some damage to the front of the house from that tree. It's great to see all of this stuff. What a completed disclosure form will do for a seller is it protects the seller from legal issues in the future, because they've disclosed that there was a leak, that there was a new roof, that this piece of equipment is not working in the house, so that a buyer cannot come back to them and say that, hey, you knew about this, I can prove that you knew about this, and that you owe us money to rectify this situation. The sellers, if they're telling the truth about everything in the home, there's very little recourse that a buyer can have back at them because it's been disclosed in this form. These forms are very important for both sides. There is also another form that we will see from time to time, and that is the seller's disclosure alternatives. The seller's disclosure alternatives often come into play when the seller does not know about everything that's happened in the home. This can happen when there is a rental property and the seller has not lived in that property for years and years and years and doesn't know whether there was a leak at some point. They're not certain of that. Another way that this happens is if a family is selling an estate. Let's just say mom and dad have passed away. It's time to sell the house. They don't know what happened in 1976 when that big flood was all up and down the street. They can figure it, they might not be able to figure out everything that happened, so they will sign these seller's disclosure alternatives. Buyers do not have the same recourse in the purchase of a home and thereafter if they've signed the seller's disclosure alternatives, because they've waived their rights for a lot of the recourse that they have in going after the seller after the fact. So I advise all of my clients, buyers or sellers, in certain circumstances, these seller's disclosure alternatives make a lot of sense, but you need to be aware of their limitations. If you ever have any questions about the buying and selling of homes, or if you know of anybody who is looking to buy or sell anytime in the near future, I would love to be able to help them out. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you found this video helpful.